This is My Better Half on the Jefferson Exchange. I'm Vanessa Finney. When Miwa Aoki Russell became a parent, she started questioning the career she had fought so hard to build, one she had dreamed of since childhood in Japan, being a commercial pilot. Today's episode isn't about flying, though. It's about what happens when our long-held ambitions no longer fit, how Miwa navigated self-doubt, family needs, and a leap into something radically new, professional baking. Welcome, Miwa.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Your story is one of midlife reinvention. Where were you in your life or career when you started thinking about changing careers?
Honestly, I never thought about changing my career. You don't understand how hard I worked to become a professional pilot. And I've been in the aviation industry 25 plus years, and that was my passion. I don't know anything else except being a pilot. So it's become my identity. Who I was or who I am, and I was very comfortable represent myself and start being in a position where I can give out to the next generation all help that I can give to the next generation aviator, right?
Yeah.
So I never wanted to leave aviation. However, life is very interesting. I never thought about married. I never thought about having the kids, but I met somebody. And he's also a pilot. And when I met him, I expressed my desire to continue my career until I die, probably. And he was like, okay, maybe I'll stay home, Dad, and you can keep working. And I was like, yes, I got the jackpot. I met somebody who let me work, and he's going to take care of our family. What else I could ask for? And 1 year later, our first son, Riku, was born. Moment he came to my life, pilot Miwa disappeared.
You didn't see that coming?
No, I did not see that coming. Nobody else, probably none of my friends or family or my husband. I adore him, and I wanted to stay home. I didn't want to go back to work. But I did go back to work. You know, that having the two airline pilots in the household was a little bit of juggle. And we didn't have the grandparents to help us, so we just a single family household. It was me and my husband. We juggle around, shifting around, make sure that the one of us gonna stay home. But, you know, airline industry is a little bit tricky industry. Like, you know, we have a schedule to come home, but could be airplane broke, could be weather, could be anything happen, and then we stuck some different airport and we won't be able to come home. And happened to me probably 3 times when Riku was very, very small. And I start wondering, what am I doing, you know? Like, I love my job, no doubt, but at the same time, the Riku was most priority for me, and my husband is getting to where he can move on to the major airline as well. So there's a lot of changing happening that moment. I thought I knew, but I didn't know how tough to raise the child, having a career at the same time. When I was single, I used to be enjoying being in a cockpit, flying, chatting with crews and chatting with customers. But all I was thinking when I was cockpit is how quickly I can fly this airplane and get back home. And how quickly I can land this airplane to the Medford airport. That's all I was thinking. And I started laughing myself, like, wow, I changed so much. My priority no longer being a pilot anymore.
And how old were you at that point?
I was already 40 because I had my son like late 30.
Okay.
So I spent quite share of my lifetime being in aviation. So being said so, fair enough for me to be able to say I did what I wanted to do. And maybe it's time to slow down and let go. My first passion being the aviator is maybe take a break a little bit. Everybody else does. Then my daughter was born. Then I want to quit that moment, having the 2 kids. It was the moment I was too much for me to leave the house and then coming home and my husband leaving, and then just not really as a family didn't really work out. We always missing one person, you know, me or him. And I don't want my kids to growing up like that. You know, we want to have 2 parents at the same time.
So much is modeled by two parents interacting together, even in front of their children.
Yes, and then I had a luxury to be able to do so because I had a husband and then he can help me to raise the kids together. If I was a single mother or something like that, I probably have to have a different life path. But I was luxury to do those kind of lifestyle, then why am I not doing it? And I would start questioning myself, my choice. I think that was 2021 or so when I started thinking about leaving the airline industry. And I was lucky enough to get a job offer, the local airport, the private jet, the job here in the Medford. So I was be able to still flying part-time as the private jet pilot and then enjoy being staying home most of the time. Then 3 months passed. I start feeling nervous not having the job. Be working for a long time, having a career, then stay-home mom. I enjoy first probably 6 months or so, but now I start doubting myself again. What am I doing? Like, don't I have to work? Like, don't I have to bring some income to the household? Or I start thinking, am I contribute to the society? I don't know. I'm just being a mom is the toughest job. Maybe I was seeking some escape from the reality of being a mom again because it was so hard for me to stay home, even though I wanted to stay home. Because I used to be able to interact with my coworkers, customers. I felt like a feeling of belonging to the society. Then when I started raising 2 little kids, stay-at-home mom, I probably start feeling isolated from society.
Sure.
And start doubting myself. What did I do? Did I make a mistake? Did I make a bad choice of leaving the career that I really wanted to do ever since I was a little girl? But pandemic happened, and a lot of people stay home and communicating with the social media. And I start looking at a lot of people doing the stay-home baking.
Right.
And baking has been my passion for a long time. And ever since I was little, I'm always baking. I'm always baking to my friends and the families. And then when I came this country, I was only 17, 18 years old, and neighbor grandma showed me how to bake a country loaf bread, like American style. Mm-hmm. And that was sensational for me. Like, she just made from flours and waters and yeast. That was a very good memory of me. And so I've been baking ever since in this country and learning, always like improving, trying to gain the skill. Then I became a pilot, right? So I travel a lot and I see a lot of different style of baking all over the world. And I just fell in love with the smell of fresh bread that you cannot taste from the store-bought. And I decided to mimic, like create myself to do the same kind of the taste that I tasted from different overseas and wanted to provide to my friends and family and things that I love. So I studied a lot during the pandemic, and then I was sharing the bread, and my husband said, I love your baking, but one thing I'm missing is sourdough bread that I really love, but I can't really find the sourdough taste that I really likes. Can you try it? Practice. And I was nothing else to do during the pandemic, so I practiced a lot sourdough. And I've been doing the sourdough before, but I never really good at it enough to be able to sell it or to share with my friend. But that's when I really study hard. And then when I using somebody else's sourdough starter, never really succeeded very well. I don't know why. Probably the sourdough starter coming from the different regions. But when I started my own starter in my house, that's when my sourdough bread become amazing flavors, amazing rise, amazing texture. So I kind of got very proud of myself creating something in the air to correct all the lactose and yeast, everything from the nature, just the water and the flour mixing, and then creating this amazing bread was a very proud moment for myself as a baker. Then I start sharing my bread to people, and then everybody start order bread, but I didn't want to take money from my friend and family. But my neighbor one day told me, Miwa, if you don't take money, at least like ingredients cost, hard for us to order, hard for us to ask you to bake one for us, even though we love to taste your bread. We kind of like shy because I knew you were going to say, oh, just take it. You don't need the money. That's all you say.
Right.
That's the time I start thinking, people willing to pay money for my bread. So I was like, kind of like, there might be the opportunity for me to stay home mom and make some income. I started thinking so much opportunity and potential.
So part of that was your friend's honesty, let you know that this was something they valued and they wanted to honor your skill.
Yes.
Of course. Yeah.
Yes. So that meant me so much. And then that gave me another, insight about potential. So when I start charging people the ingredients cost, that's not too much, but still something to cover my practice in bread, basically. Then a lot of people start asking, I heard about your bread, I heard about you making a good sourdough, can I pay you? And people start leaving the tips. And that's kind of start thinking, oh my goodness, people are willing to leave more money than that I asked for. And I was very, very surprised. But at the same time, that's the moment I was like, okay, let's do this. Maybe I can make that happen. So when I start advertising myself as a sourdough baker, farmers market organizers approaching me say that we need some good sourdough bread at the market. Would you thinking about selling at the market? So first, I declined the wonderful offer because I had 2 little kids, and then I understand the market takes a lot of work because I have to be there, but I have to pick up my kids from the school. I have to drop them off. They have a music lesson to take too. So market idea wasn't really appealing to me, even though I really wanted to try out myself. Then Jacksonville Farmers Market reached out to me and they said, it's Sunday. And I'm like, oh, Sunday. I can do Sunday. Sunday, no school, no piano lesson, no guitar lesson. Also, Jacksonville was very close to my house, so it's only like 5 minutes drive. So I was like, this is something I can do. That's when I started 2022, seriously taking the role as a business owner and then taking this professional baking. And that's the time when I transit as being a pilot to call myself as a baker. And I told my previous employer that I'm taking a break from the aviation for a little bit.
Okay, so at age about 46, you changed your identity, basically.
Yes.
After it being changed partly to being a mother.
Yes.
So fast forward to 2025, and you've gone well beyond that first sourdough that put your name on the map. I'm looking at pictures on your website, and when I pulled this up at work, I actually went, oh my gosh, out loud, because all these colors. For our listeners, I'm looking at French vanilla custard with fresh fruit puffy pastry, a blueberry vatrushka bun, a French apple pie. How many products do you currently have, and how can people find them?
It's very hard to tell how many products because I'm always adding onto it, and I'm always like to try something new whenever I go travel overseas. At this moment, I have probably at least 12 products on sites, and it's available over the online order. And then once again, I call myself custom baker. So I bake when you order. Everything have to be fresh. That's my motto. So if you order, I bake for you.
Okay.
So I don't have a storefront. That's the only reason that I don't do is storefront. You have to really have to plan ahead, and you have to bake ahead of time.
And you have to have a presence, so that gives you less flexibility to be at home, to be your kid's chauffeur.
Yes, definitely. Right now, I do pop-up maybe once a month. Yeah, you can get the information from my website.
And what is your website?
Southern Oregon Sourdough.store.
Miwa, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me. This has been really inspiring and appetizing, I must say, as I look at these photos. Best of luck in your business.
Thank you so much. I truly appreciated this opportunity.
You've been listening to My Better Half on the Jefferson Exchange. To learn more about how Miwa Aoki Russell came to the U.S. as a teenager to build a career in aviation without role models, internet advice, or even library guidance, listen to our full conversation about her inspiring story at jeffexchange.org.